Welcome everyone, today we have a new Tower Fantasy news update video. In this video, we'll look into some of the new armors that will be coming into the game and also how to prepare a certain currency, which is the support points, to save for those armor items. So you can see over here on the Chinese particular versions, they already have those items for the support points. And what I'll do is I'll provide a calculation of the support points and how much you should be saving, because we'll be short on 700 support points if you want all the items, and this is why you want to save for those items. Because those new items will come with elemental attack, critical percent, damage bonus, and also a lot of more stats that will be coming into the game. And we want to prepare for those items by saving certain currencies, and we want to be preparing for those items by saving the support points. We'll talk about the calculation at the start of the video. After that, we'll look into a number of tips and also guides for the Bygone Fantasy, which is instantly killing the enemy monster, which is actually pretty cool. And this is actually very useful, similar to the tips I gave to you guys for the wormhole. This instant kill method is actually very powerful. We're also looking into the guides and also tips from the community about using certain relic as a shield, and also using certain relic to travel and also solve puzzles. So those are very creative and very interesting. I want to share those with you guys and get along with the game with those relics and also progress much quicker in the game. Finally, we're looking to a meme about the exclusive month. This one's pretty funny. I know a lot of people are showing off their months, so let's have a look at this one at the end. Now coming over to a highlight of the day. So over here we're looking at Tower of Fantasy Index, and here there is a lot of summary and also guides. As I was coming across this particular part for the armors, I saw there are new armors, and some of our viewers were sending me this particular screenshot about saving for the support points and why we should be farming as much support point as we can before version 2.0. So coming over to the game first, I'll show you guys my set. I only got one SSR at the moment, so I'm currently on 20,000 CS. You can see there are 2 armor slots that is currently empty, and you can see there's a writing says core over here. What's going to happen likely at version 2.0, there will be 2 armor pieces that will be coming. One is the arc core, one is going to be the visor pieces, and those pieces will provide you with additional stats. So looking at it, at the description over here, those pieces can have percentage stats increase, including increased elemental damage, elemental attack damage, critical percentage, and also even more damage increase. And those percentage are boosted by a certain amount instead of being random. So those are going to be some very essential gears. Those will also have the elemental damage separated, so you can focus on doing flame damage, or quiet ice damage, or void damage. You can focus on certain damages. Now, what is interesting about this particular, guide and want to prepare for is, notice over here, this is a screenshot of the support shop after the update of the version 2.0, I believe, with Vara, which is likely coming very soon. We saw the teasers, right? The global teasers. Notice that we have the supply chip, which will cost 2,700 for buying those 3. And you can also see there are 2 special crystals, one golden one, one purple one, which together there's 5 quantities per week and 2 quantities per week. So together, those items will cost 2,000 of your support points per week. There's also other points that we can get probably later in the stage of the game, but we come over to the summaries and let's have a look at some of the support points calculations. At the moment in the game, you can get 1,500 support points in the game, and this will add up to 7 days, so in a week, it's about 10,500 support points. Now, you might think this is a lot, but there's a number of things we can buy in the game. So what I'll do is I'll come over to the support store. I'll show you guys what I actually bought. So I have been buying the joint supply chip for 2,700 for 3 of them. I have been buying the black moculus for 10 of them for 3,000. And I do plan to buy the 50,000 of gold. And this will actually cost me quite a bit. So 3,000 for the black moculus, 2,700 for the joint supply chip, 3,500 for 50,000 gold. This is actually my secret to free-to-play gold. You can see I'm saving up to 20,000 gold because I've been buying those gold with the support points, right? So every week I get 50,000 more gold, which is actually really good. Now, what's going to happen is you'll be left with you'll be spending 9,200 each week. So you gain 10,500. You'll be left with 1,300 support points. Now, if you guys remember the 2 items that will be coming in the future shop, those 2 items will cost another 2,000 points. So what's going to happen is we will be 700 points short if you still want to buy everything that is listed over here. So each week will be 700 short, and this I don't think this will recover unless we get more support points per week. So you start to lose out on some of those items. And what we want to do now is, during this time, when those items only cost 9,200, so you have 1,300 surplus. So during this time, we should be saving support points, because in the future, you can get more of those items, because it costs 2,000 a week, you can get more of those and other items you wanted each of the week when the new version comes out. And what I also recommend is to not waste your support points on any of the cores, any of the vehicle parts, if you don't need them desperately, because those will become more valuable in the future for version 2.2. And you can see from those calculations, we'll have a 700 point shortage each of the week. Now, if you guys have seen my previous video with the wormholes about pushing the monsters off the cliff, here we have some interesting bygone fantasy guides about pushing the monsters off the cliff as well. So here, this is actually from Your Future, and he is showing us fighting the monsters and try to push them off the cliff. So he's showing his HP and the times remaining, and this is actually pretty cool. So notice that he pushed the enemy off the cliff and himself off the cliff too, and he was able to defeat this boss Seraphim. And here we also see Vulcan. This is another boss fight with Bygone. And if you guys are having trouble with the bosses in the difficulties over here, you can try to push them off the cliff if you manage to. It's actually pretty cool. He like ping-ponged him off the cliff, right? And notice that he one-shotted the boss from like max HP. So very interesting ideas of using the mechanics of the map and then using the environment to kill the bosses and enemies. You can do this with elite monsters and normal monsters too, but you can also do those with bosses. And this is going to be a really good tip for the Bygone Fantasy for pushing for higher levels against those boss. Of course, depending on the weapon and depending on your playstyle, you have to find your own way of pushing the boss. We can see here, I believe this is is that Huma's shield? I think this is the Huma's shield, right? I believe this is a shield that he's using. Is he using the shield? He's using the shield to push the boss over here, and he fell down himself too. And here, I believe this is Marrow. And yeah, he used Marrow with the switch weapon ultimate, and then he pushed it off with one slash. That was actually really cool. I really enjoyed this one. It's feels like a ping pong, like a baseball, smashing the monsters off the edge of the map and killing it instantly. Now, coming over to some of the more guides and also tips about using relics. And before I do it, let's give credits to everyone who shared this to the community, and big thank you to them. This is I Don't Know Where I Am, and over here is City Forever, and we have Rabirth, and also Onyx 696. And we also have a fun one over here from Metrica. And I can't pronounce names right. So this is the guide about using relics, and there's multiple ways to use relics. So let's have a look at this one. I thought it would be really useful. So I believe Sally will actually shoot projectiles and missiles and guy homing like machine guns. And here he is using the relic, which produces the hand cannon that produces like a cylinder tube on the floor, and this actually blocks projectiles. Really powerful to use the environment, and you can use this one in a wormhole. You can use this against the Bygone bosses, or anywhere you find bosses with projectile types. This can be quite useful. And all of a sudden, this utility relic is becoming a combat relic, reducing the amount of damage you take, and also it's really good. So definitely try this out against those boss types, against the projectiles. Now coming over to the next relic guide, and this one is actually pretty interesting. This is from Relic, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so smart. Now what is happening is, let me show you guys the relic I think he is using. So it's the SSR relic. I believe this is the hologram projectile. So the hologram projectile will project another Wanderer of your character that deals 35% of the damage. But instead of doing damage, what our friend is doing is he's using that as additional character to solve the puzzles for the co-op puzzles. If you're like me, you never have people running with you, you want to solve those, right? And sometimes the two ones, you can use the hologram projections. Now you might be asking, hey, what if you want to solve the three ones? Well, one, you can use the hologram projections. The other one, you can use the Nemesis Tower. So what's going to happen is you can use the Nemesis Tower on one, you can use the hologram on the other one, and finally, you can use yourself on the third one. Who needs friends when you have gadgets, right? So this one's pretty cool. I thought I'd share with you guys because I never get to solve them, because I never get to call people. Here you can solve anything by yourself using those. And if you do not have Nemesis to 1 star, you will have to switch into the Nemesis Burst Ultimate. But if you have Nemesis to 1 star, you can just shoot the skills and get a tower. And this is actually really useful. Now coming over to the next guide with relics. So this is using a cybernetic arm. To be honest with you guys, I never really used this arm properly, so I was quite interested of seeing how people were using it. So here you can see our friend is trying to climb the ladder, and she fell. I was like, why is she doing that? So she's showing you how she can use a cybernetic arm. So there she actually shot a shot with the, what you call it, with the grab arm. So she created a cylinder with the magnetic cannon, and then she used a cybernetic arm to fly up into the cannon she created. So this is using 2 projectiles. So one she's using the hand cannon, and then she's using the cybernetic arm to grab onto it. Very creative, right? So in terms of you have hard to grab places, you can do it this way. Now coming over to some of the main posts and also fan posts shared by the community, Matrika here have 1 month hard. So I see a lot of players showing off unicorns and stuff, and I haven't really been farming all the parts for them. And I see this particular post, you can see the new exclusive mount, a turtle mount. Pretty good, right? So yeah, this is something fun that I come across, and maybe in the future if I come across a lot of the fan posts from the community, I'll share those, and of course credits all to the owners and also posters and everyone who's sharing to the community. Big thank you for them for sharing, and also to make the community more fun and also more, interesting. Just looking at the turtles, it is pretty slow month though. Let me know what you think, and if you guys do come across funny posts or useful guides, do let me know. You can message me on Discord, or message me on Twitter, or send a message on YouTube. If I can see it, I'll try to reply to you guys, and we can share the guides and also information to the community. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel and for more content related to Tower of Fantasy. I'll be looking into more free-to-play content, and I've tried to look into minimum spending or no spending method to clear the game and also achieve the highest amount of free currencies and also free-to-play, characters and also weapons in the game.